What's happening, people? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to the channel. It's a new month. It's April. Ramadan has come to an end. So normal scheduling has returned back on the channel. Daily dose of Mina every single day at 4 p.m. UK time. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. And like I said, normal scheduling has returned because also the Premier League is back. Manchester United is back. You never know what you got until it's gone, because I've actually missed watching just football, just Man United in general. I can't believe I'm saying that, because in a couple of hours I'm going to be like, oh my God, this team love to stress me out. But you don't know what you got until it's gone, guys. Football is back. So much football on, by the way. Tomorrow, today, throughout the next coming weeks. We got the Manchester Derby on the weekend. So it should be a fun one. Should be a fun one. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. If you are new here, please do hit the like button, because it really helps with the algorithm, especially because I've been very inconsistent last month. So people are not getting notified when I go live. They're not getting notified when I upload a video. So it really helps with the algorithm. Big up to everyone in the chat. Mina, was this your best Eid as a content creator? I've never had like a best Eid. Every Eid is always pretty much good because I get to spend it with family. But I had a good Eid. Hope you enjoyed your Eid celebrations. I did. Thank you very much. I went to a theme park with my family on Sunday, and then yesterday I went to watch Baller League. So that was quite fun. Bumped into Kukurea at a theme park with my family. I didn't take a picture with him because I'm not a Chelsea fan. But the people that I was with, some of them were Chelsea fans, so some of them got to take pictures with him. But he was there with his family, and I don't know, man. I feel like when footballers or celebrities are out, when they're with their family, it's just kind of awkward to like ask them for a picture. But a lot of people were asking him for pictures, and he was very happy to take pictures with everyone. Went to Baller League yesterday, which is actually quite fun, guys. I was a bit skeptical about the concept of Baller League. Just because I didn't know how it would work out. I'm not gonna lie. But I watched a bit of it last week, and then watching it in the flesh this week is basically like street football meets, technical football, if you want to call it that. And I think like the professional, there's a lot of ex-pros and people that have like gone through academy ranks in that. And then there's some people that just play street ball. And you can see, the street ballers are probably, I would say, the best and the most techie out of all of the players. I saw a ridiculous goal. I think the biggest game that everyone was looking forward to was Santander's team versus Cherki's team. And opening 2 minutes, I think it was, a guy called Albi that plays for Santander scored the best goal that I've seen in Baller League so far. It's only been 2 weeks, but the best goal that I've seen. A nutmeg the key. Oh my God, it was disgusting. But overall, I think Baller League was a fun experience. Would I go back? 100%. 100% I would go back. Thank you to O2 for actually inviting me to their VIP hospitality section. Harry Kane. Yeah, I was laughing when I realized his name was Harry Kane, because I was like, what are the odds? I know it's spelled different, but really, what are the odds? Let me know, guys. How was your Eid? For those of you celebrating Eid, observing Eid, let me know, what did you get up to for Eid? One thing that I really appreciated about Eid this year, the weather was nice. The weather was nice. It was actually sunny. I could wear my sunglasses throughout most of the day, and I really do feel like, I don't know, I feel like I've tanned over the last couple of days of being outside, given the fact that during Ramadan I barely go outside. But Ramadan has ended. Eid is coming to an end. Football is back, which means the Manchester United news is flying as always. As always, there's so much to talk about in the world of Manchester United. We've got Nottingham Forest this evening, and I'm amazed at how confident a lot of Man United fans are. And I don't know if maybe I'm just a bit apprehensive. Am I a negative Nancy? Maybe like I need to be a bit more optimistic like everybody else, because I'm thinking, guys, this is a Nottingham Forest who are engine-like in their team, especially in the midfield of that pitch. They've got workhorses, right? They are third in the league. FA Cup, they're through to the final four. This is not a team that you're going to walk all over. The only thing, one thing that I think helps United slightly is the fact that Man United's form away from home might be better than their form at home. So I think we're playing away this evening as well. But the way that I'm seeing people talking about Forest, I feel like people are talking about Forest like they're a newly promoted team, and I'm seeing people saying, "Yeah, United gonna smash them. We're gonna beat them." I'm feeling confident. United look good going into the international break. That is all true, But I always am skeptical of United coming back from an international break, because I always feel like it's a reset. Every time we come back from an international break over like the last 18 or so months, I always feel like the first game is always a reset into maybe what we went into the international break with. And with that, like I said, Nottingham Forest is a very well coached team, a very tactical team that know how to frustrate the opponent, whether it is giving them a lot. Like, I remember watching them against Liverpool, and they were happy to let Liverpool have a lot of possession, but Liverpool couldn't do nothing with it because they have a great backline. They've got a phenomenal goalkeeper. I think probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league this season in Sels. They've got the partnership of Milinkovic, Murillo. They've got Ola Aina, who likes to get up a lot. They've got Anderson, Gibbs White. I did see some news flying around potentially that Chris Wood might be out and Gibbs White is a 50-50. So we'll have to see what happens when kind of the news comes out, the lineups, etc. But I'm skeptical. I am a little bit skeptical. I think United can get a result, maybe a draw, but United have to be at their best, I think, to win. Because let's be honest, guys, a lot of the time this season, over the last couple of months, to win games, sometimes United haven't had to be at their best. And that was up against, I think, weaker sides. So coming up in a game against Nottingham Forest, I'm not saying it's like, coming up against Arsenal or coming up against City or coming up against Liverpool, but I will give Forest a little bit of respect because of how well they're doing this season. And, you don't just, you don't be in a top 4 race and a semi-final of an FA Cup just by chance. There's clearly some tactical decisions and some profile decisions in terms of the players that they have that is helping them be in this position. We'll be lucky to get a draw. Big up to Ridwan. 11 Best agrees, says I think we'll get a draw tonight. Big up OJ, says big up Mina and everyone in the chat. Big up everyone, man. Be sure to hit the like button. But actually, before we actually get into the talk about tonight, let's start with news. Manchester United news. There's always, like I said, guys, I know there was so much stuff during the international break that was happening in terms of Man United news, but I just didn't really do any streams because I already told you, during Ramadan, guys, it's so tiring to do streams, especially when you're fasting, to talk. Like, at least today, I've got my water. I can drink water on stream, but during Ramadan, it's sunny today, talking so much, no water. You lot don't know, but when I'm fasting, I'm a very, snappy person. I'm very, very snappy. That's why my human interactions have to be at minimal when I'm fasting, because I will snap at people and I don't want to. So I just avoid seeing and speaking to people unless I have a shoot or something like that, which I had a few shoots during Ramadan, which I just had to try and persevere and try see it through. But bro, it was not easy. So we're back with the daily scheduling, like I said, and we have a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. Delap, Ryan Cherki, Victor Osimhen, Garnacho potential swap with Napoli. We got a price tag for Kobby Mainoo, Bruno Fernandes, not for sale after it was reported that Real Madrid could be interested in him, which I thought was fake news. I'm not going to lie, because I looked at Real Madrid's squad, especially their potential starting 11 next season, and I didn't see a need for Bruno Fernandes in that team. Unless he played in that deeper midfield role. But if they are signing Trent, I thought, and I've watched Real Madrid quite a bit this season, I thought if they're signing Trent, there's no way Fede Valverde just drops to the bench. He's going to be playing in the midfield for them. So I know that there was news about potentially Real Madrid being interested in him for 90 million, but I just saw that, and as someone who watches Real Madrid quite a bit, I just thought there's no room for Bruno in their team. Not because he's not good enough, but just because I just didn't see where he would fit. Let's actually start with the Bruno. Damn, why did I zoom in so much? I just lost him. Let's start with the Bruno news. Let's start with that. Dipesh says it's fake news. I wouldn't want him even for free. Okay, that's a bit harsh, Dipesh. That's a bit harsh. The only reason why I did think it was fake news, like I said, is because I looked at Bellingham's role, and I don't think you need a Bellingham and a Bruno in the team together. Personally, they are two different types of players, and the way that Bellingham plays, I think, is more suited to the front three that Real Madrid have in comparison to maybe a Bruno Fernandes. But saying that, Ruben Amorim did come out and did kind of shut down all of this rumors about Bruno Fernandes. And maybe this is him shutting down any potential future rumors. We know that, in the summer there was talk about potentially him leaving. Then he got his little bumped up contract. There was potential talk about Man United, looking to sell him, but he's not looking at him as an unsellable asset. And I don't think there's a lot of players in the team that are unsellable. I'm not going to lie. But Ruben Amorim was asked about it, and he said it's not going to happen. Bruno is not going anywhere because I have already told him that. So he's already kind of shut down that kind of rumor about Bruno Fernandes. And maybe this is for the summer. Going into the summer, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if this news pops up again, just because it's transfer talk. Unfortunately, in the world of football that we live in right now, especially with social media, you don't have to be a credible journalist for people to believe your transfer rumor. Sometimes you can just have a certain number of following and people will eat up anything that you say. So I do anticipate that these Bruno departure talks will come back in the summer, but I'm just shocked that out of all the teams in Europe that he was linked to Real Madrid for 90. And I saw people even saying, I saw a lot of United fans saying, take it, it's a lot. I think 90 million is quite a lot for Bruno Fernandes, given his age. I think his age plays a big factor in it. I wouldn't say he's a risk if anyone was to sign him, but I do think that if you are building a team for, I'm saying like the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, there's potential players out there like Florian Wirtz, like Jamal Musiala. I know he just signed a new contract, but there's players out there, creative players, that you could possibly break the bank for and get the opportunity of longevity with. I think Bruno Fernandes will, for Manchester United, he's definitely got some years in him, a few more years in terms of top flight, competitive, consistently being available type of football. But if you want something, to last you 6, 7 years, I don't see any team looking to break the bank for Bruno. And that's just my opinion. It has nothing to do with his age, has nothing to do with his output. It just solely has to do with squad building. I don't see a lot of, I don't know, this is my opinion, but when I look at a lot of teams right now, I don't see a lot of teams building for the now. I don't see a lot of teams building to win now. I feel like football has moved from that. I feel like before, when I was growing up, teams were building squads to win now. We want to win the Premier League. Like, we're putting together a squad of players so we can win the Premier League next season and then the Champions League next. Whereas now, I feel like a lot of teams are putting together projects. Football has become very project-based. So I genuinely do kind of see Bruno Fernandes staying at Manchester United. Which midfielder currently has Bruno's numbers that consistently? Not many. That's true. But also, I think numbers are sometimes a skewed way of looking at football, and I'm speaking about specific metrics, not just numbers per se. Because you look at goals, you look at assists, but people look a lot at chances created or expected assists. Passes into the final third. But I feel like those numbers sometimes do not fully represent the full image. And what I'm saying is that, for example, chances created. What is deemed as a chance created? Is that me putting a cross into the box, creating a chance for my teammate? Or is that me putting a clear-cut ball into the box, clear-cut opportunity for my player, and he skies it? Because I think as much as putting the ball into the box, there's still a bit of work to be done by the attacking player to get onto the end of it, especially if they are fighting and trying to get positioning against 1 or 2 centre-backs. There's still quite a lot of work to be done. So that kind of metric, I think you need to look at. Because, like, for example, I'll give you an example, right? I've seen people talking about Mohamed Salah. And his assists this season in the Premier League. And I think his expected assist is way lower than the number of assists that he actually has. And people are saying it's just because he just passes. Look, if you watch his assists, people assume that it's not really a well thought out pass and he's just putting the ball into a dangerous area, hoping for someone to get on the end of it. And sometimes that is the case and sometimes that's not. But if you were to look at, just his assists, it would skew the entire reality of it. And I think actually assistant goals is not necessarily the right example to use, because that is game impacting moments, but it's expected assists. Basically, people are looking at his expected assists and saying, oh, he's got 4.7. By the way, I just made that number up, but he's got 4.7 expected assists in the Premier League, and he's got double-digit assists. He's fluky. I don't think that kind of represents the full image of that. I think he's putting the ball into the dangerous position, and his teammate is doing a difficult task and coming out on top in terms of getting in front of the defender and taking that maybe chance created. That if the chance is created by, for example, Bruno Fernandes, what would be a good metric to know is how difficult was the chance for him to create, and how difficult is the chance for his teammate to finish it. I think that would be a good metric, because then I would understand, if you are creating chances from situations that are virtually impossible, I rate it highly. But if you're just putting balls into the box consistently and no one's able to get on the end of it, I'm seeing sometimes you're overhitting the pass. Sometimes you're underhitting the pass. Sometimes you're putting a ball into the box from a corner and you're not beating the first man. But does that still stand as a chance created? That's the data. Sometimes I don't think people should solely kind of use data as the kind of end all or be all when it comes to that. Stats are killing the game, in my opinion. I don't think stats are killing the game, because I think we're living in a data-driven world. I was lucky enough, like I always say, I grew up as a teenager in the best era of modern day football, the 2000s, early 2010s, yeah, when people were just enjoying football. Like I remember, just watching Manchester United's front three, Tevez, Ronaldo, and Rooney, and I was never worried about stats. I was never worried about XG and XA and chances created and progressive passes per 90 and all. I was just enjoying the football that was on display. But I also understand that with that, football has evolved, and when society and life evolves, I'm seeing people using AI cartoons, guys, to make pictures. Please, please, please. I don't know if I have to tell you this, but please don't put your picture into an AI system so that they can create a cartoon for you. Because one day you're going to be walking the streets and you're going to see a clone that looks exactly like you walking into the supermarket. That's my conspiracy theory, but let's not get sidetracked. But I don't think stats are killing the game, but I think the way that people are using stats to kind of justify their opinion, that's what's killing it. Sometimes I don't see what's wrong with me saying, for example, the Salah and Ronaldo debate. What's wrong with me just solely saying I like Ronaldo's time in Manchester United and in the Premier League, and I rate him higher than Salah because he was the better footballer to watch. Why is that such a bad thing? Everything has to be backed. It's my opinion at the end of the day, right? It's my opinion. So why can't I just say I preferred to watch him play than I did watching Salah? He's more entertaining. Because is football not about entertainment? I don't know. That's just my opinion. With Bruno, it would be more than just numbers. Numbers are the cherry on top, but this brother is bulletproof. He's consistent, works hard, a leader, and very professional. I do agree with those latter points. The consistency, working hard, very professional. I saw a report today that was saying that Bruno Fernandes has stayed in contact with all of the young players or anyone that's out on loan, or any young academy player that's out on loan right now. He checks in on them, and he still is in contact with, staff who have been made redundant at Manchester United. And, we could talk about what he did for the women's team when he wanted to pay for the FA Cup tickets. There's so much that Bruno has done that makes him a proper professional. And you know what? I don't know. Anytime I watch a player interview for United, and they're always asked about, like, who influences the dressing room, or who is someone that people look up to in the dressing room, people always say Bruno. People always say Bruno Fernandes, and I agree with those other points. He is bulletproof. The guy's always available, always kind of plays. He gives you 100%, and sometimes the 100% might not be enough because the other team are giving 150%. But I do agree with that point. I do agree with that point. That conspiracy, I thought you could say your photo will be used for other things. Nah, they're gonna clone you. Anybody that put their photo into an AI thing, yeah, they're going to clone you, make multiple clones of you. One day you're going to be walking into Tesco and you're going to see someone that looks exactly like you, but they're not your relative and they're not your child. and you're going to be like, what the hell? And bam, all that's left is then to clone your DNA. That's why I will never do a 23andMe. I don't know if you lot know what 23andMe is, but it's basically like you do a DNA test to find out where your heritage, like where your heritage comes from, i.e. it'll give you like, out of 100%, it'll tell you whether you are 100% from your ethnic background, or they'll tell you, you know, all of this, you got like 23% this, 21% this. But I will never do that, because now you're going to sell my DNA. And now you're going to use my DNA to make clones of me. I'm a proper conspiracy theorist, guys. So that's two things I'll never do. I'll never use AI to make cartoon pictures of me. And I will never, ever, ever do 23andMe. Eid Mubarak, sister. Eid Mubarak to you too, Husnaina. I hope you had a good Eid. And Eid Mubarak to all of you lot, man. I hope you lot had a good Eid. Ridwan says, clone me. I don't care. Where's my doppelganger? The funny thing is, I swear that I read something once on Reddit that said that you have at least 6 people that look like you in the world. You have like 6 doppelgangers in the world. And I fully believe it, because I was scrolling on TikTok today, yeah, and I swear I saw a lookalike of Lamine Yamal, and he was wearing the kit, and his whole TikTok account is him basically being Lamine Yamal, acting like Lamine Yamal, and he looked exactly like him. But he was like in Africa somewhere. I can't remember where he was based in. I think it was like East Africa. He had the hair, the braces, he had a Barcelona kit on. Everything just looked like Lamine Yamal, but that's not Lamine Yamal. So I definitely agree that there's doppelgangers out there that look like you that you just don't know about. Let's talk transfers. Let's actually talk transfers, guys. Have you not hit the like button when you've come in? If you haven't hit the like button when you've come in, then I think you're a disgrace. I do think you're a disgrace. So please do hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love. And because it's Eid, isn't it? It's like Haqq al-Eid. I don't know what you lot call it in your language, but we call it Haqq al-Eid. I think some people call it Eidia or something like that. But it's basically when you give money to your younger relatives, etc., etc. So you lot can send in super chats for that cause as well. We took the foot off the gas, guys, because I should have hit 13k by now. We're on 12.5k. We've been on 12.5k throughout the month, and that's just because throughout Ramadan, I think I posted a couple of videos, match reactions, and I think I did 2 streams. I did 3 streams or something during the entire Ramadan. But like I said, Daily Dose of Minna is back on a consistent basis every day, 4 p.m. UK time. So turn on your post notifications, so every time I go live, you guys will get notified. Let's talk transfers. Laurie Whitwell with a big piece from The Athletic today, suggesting that, you know, one thing that we know for sure is, number one, Manchester United got a tight-ass budget. So he has kind of confirmed that. And he said that a Manchester United's tight budget is a major factor for any options, including Victor Osimhen, whose wages would also be an obstacle. Some kind of swap deal might make a deal more financially possible, with Napoli holding an interest in Alejandro Garnacho. So that's not Laurie Whitwell kind of suggesting that a swap deal is on the table. However, it is a possibility. He goes on to then kind of name other players that Manchester United are looking at. Victor Gyökeres is one of them. Liam Delap is another one. Benjamin Sesko is another one. And like I said, Victor Osimhen as well. Now, it's an interesting one for me, firstly, with Manchester United, because it's the summer. It's a summer where not only Manchester United are looking for a striker, right? And this is where Man United pull might have to come into it, because if United do not win the Europa League, what they are selling to players will be a project, a future project. Come and build with us, and in the next couple of years, we will contend. Whereas I think a lot of these players, Victor Osimhen, you know, I think Liam Delap might be the only player that is not played in Champions League this season out of all the players. And I know Gyökeres has been in Champions League. Sesko has, despite the fact that RB Leipzig didn't do that well. Liam Delap is also a name that I don't think, I said this a long time ago. I like Liam Delap as a player, but another young player, okay, let me say this the right way, guys. Let me try to say this the right way. He is not what Rasmus Højlund was when we brought him. I think Liam Delap is better right now than what we paid for Rasmus Højlund 2 seasons ago. That for me is easy without a doubt. I think he's more comfortable as a centre forward, especially as a lone centre forward. We could talk about, his current adaptability in the Premier League will be less kind of rocky than Rasmus Højlund. I think as a centre forward, as an all-rounded centre forward, I think he's a lot better than Rasmus Højlund. I think his hold-up play is a lot better. He's a lot better in the air. He's a lot better in terms of on the ball. I think his ball control is a lot better. I think most of his attributes exceeds what Rasmus Højlund offers, right? However, going from Ipswich to United is a huge jump. But with saying that, Wilcox is a big fan of Liam Delap, having worked with him at the Manchester City Academy. Now, on top of that, Ipswich will get relegated this season. Or it's likely. It's like where are they practically? Yeah, I think they are guaranteed actually to get. Yeah, they're practically guaranteed. They're 9 points off of safety, unless they go on a crazy winning streak and Wolves go on a crazy losing streak. I think it's safe to say that Ipswich will get relegated. Manchester United might then get the opportunity to get him at a cut price. We need an experienced striker. This is the thing, right, guys? I am concerned about Manchester United's credibility in the transfer market in comparison to maybe other teams, because you're looking at Arsenal wanting a striker this summer. Liverpool gonna want a striker this summer. Chelsea want a striker this summer. Yeah, that is 3 big teams in the Premier League that are gonna want strikers. Not to say that there's not going to be other clubs in Europe that will want a striker. Yeah? Manchester United, in terms of the pecking order out of all the teams that might need a striker, where will Man United fall in terms of what they have to offer? And that's why a big part, I genuinely believe, is not just the finance aspect of Man United's transfer situation. I also think it's the Europa, like everyone's talking about the Europa League needing to be won because Man United need the revenue. Forget the revenue. Man United need to attract players with Champions League football. They need to attract players with Champions League football. And I know in the past that Manchester United have been able to sign players without Champions League football. I mean, we signed Pogba and Ibrahimovic going into Europa League. Number one, we had Jose Mourinho at the time, which you guys might not agree with me, but I feel like having Jose Mourinho as the face of your club in his first season, it can woo players a lot more easier than maybe having Amorim, right? Number one. Number two, Man United then, however long ago it was, 2016 or something, were doing this big wages, big bonus, big signing on fees, etc., to attract players. Whereas now United are going down the path of trying to monopolize, if you want to call it, their wage structure and have a one shoe fits most structure for them. And rightfully so, because for so long Man United have been overplaying players. So taking into consideration all those factors, Man United need to win Europa League, yes, because they need the revenue, but also yes, because they need Champions League football to attract players. And that's not me saying that United got no pull, but I'm just looking at, and I'm trying to see it from all the perspectives of a lot of other teams looking for strikers as well. Victor Osimhen, I think he's a great striker. I think Victor Osimhen is a great striker. And I've sat here many a times saying that I want Man United to sign Victor Osimhen. But how likely will it be with his wage obstacle, if you want to call it that? And you know what's funny, guys? I don't know. Why is it every time that, and I'm saying every time, but more so recently, over the last couple of months, whenever there's talk about Manchester United and transfers and transfer interest, why do we always hear about specific type of players having a wage obstacle that Manchester United are not really interested in? Look at the whole Kobby Mainoo thing, the way that it was fed to the media, wage obstacle. Let me see what you lot are saying. Chelsea are more likely to meet his wage demands. Chelsea? with Victor Osimhen leading their front line. I don't like Maresca. Yeah, I don't think Maresca's a good coach, right? I don't think, and I'm sorry, but how I shouldn't laugh, but they lost to their under-21s team in training, so he cancelled their day off. But Chelsea have so many problems, yeah? And I think, and Chelsea fans might not agree with me, but I think that the number of wingers that they have is probably a bigger problem for them than their striker situation. Because of course they've only got Nicholas Jackson, right? They've only got Nicholas Jackson as their striker. But they have so many wingers and they still do not have a starting right winger and a comfortable starting left winger. Comfortable. I feel like sometimes when I watch Chelsea, Jadon Sancho's only playing out of, because he's there. Mandueke, I think he's an all right player. Is he a starting right winger? I'm not too sure. Cole Palmer is the only person in their front line that I think has comfortably earned his space. If they get Victor Osimhen, and of course, Chelsea have found financial loopholes, guys, to avoid any sort of penalization from the FA, etc., and governing bodies. Because you know what they did, guys, in their financial accounts? Last financial year, they reported a huge loss, right? They were on track to report a huge loss. And so they sold their women's team to their parent company and basically made their women's team their own entity. And they recorded that sale as profit. Yo, Todd Bowley has found so many hacks and loopholes to get around footballing finance in the UK. But anyways, I think quite a lot of people are saying that Victor Osimhen could end up at Chelsea. How much is Osimhen worth? Well, it's reported that he's got a gentleman's agreement with Napoli. I think that gentleman's agreement is around 70 million euros. And there is no way back for him, I think, at Napoli as well. I think that's another big factor. Napoli will be in talks with a lot of teams to kind of get him out permanently, because I think he and his agent have effed up that relationship with Napoli completely in the summer. Now, what is the likelihood of a swap? What is the likelihood of a straight swap for Manchester United and Garnacho? Well, I think it's a bad idea for United. Can I just say that? If they were to do a straight swap for Garnacho, Napoli have to put money on top, because financially Manchester United need as much revenue as possible. Swapping Garnacho for Osimhen will actually probably cost Manchester United a lot more, because Victor Osimhen will be on a lot more wages than what Garnacho's on. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Number two, because Garnacho is technically an academy player, despite they bought him for like less than $1 million, I think it was. So anything that Manchester United sell him for will be deemed as pure profit from a profit and sustainability perspective. So why would you look to sell a player or swap a player who financially benefits you if you sell him, and bring in someone who could potentially hinder the wage structure that you're trying to build? I would love, by the way, guys, this is not me saying United shouldn't buy Osimhen. I'm saying that they shouldn't do a swap deal. That is my point, because in the long term, the financial implications, I think, of Victor Osimhen's deal in terms of salary, etc., will cost Manchester United a lot more. It will cost them a lot more. And let's be honest, if Man United are holding out for what, how much was it? 70 million that Man United are holding? 50 million, I think it was, that Man United, or 60 million. How much were they holding out for Garnacho reportedly in the January window? I think it was about 60 million. And we know that Napoli got 70 million for Kvaratskhelia. So we know y'all got the money somewhere. So Manchester United, I don't need to tell them to be logical about it, because I know for a fact they got the footballing people in place. But as a fan, I'm looking at all these kind of scenarios and I'm thinking, which would be the best option for Manchester United? In terms of the strikers, guys, that we've just talked about, Liam Delap, Benjamin Sesko, Victor Osimhen, and Victor Gyökeres. Who do you see, or who would you want at Manchester United? This is a name, by the way, that I don't think has ever really been linked to Manchester United. I don't really recall Sesko being linked to United that much. I think in the summer he was heavily linked to Arsenal before he signed a new deal. And that new deal is probably to financially benefit RB Leipzig in the summer. That's it. I think it's because he's being a nice... It's what Trent should have done with Liverpool. But he's doing it because he signed a new deal, probably with a clause in there. But it's not a name that has been linked to Manchester United that heavily. Not that I recall anyway. I might be wrong. So let me know if I am wrong. How much would he be if he played for Southampton or Palace? That's a good question. That is a good question. Because a lot of talk of Tyler Dibbling for 100 million. Southampton must have lost their goddamn mind if they think any team that pays 100 million for Tyler Dibbling, they have lost their mind. And I swear, if I have to come back to this video in the summer because United done something stupid, I'm going to be so upset. But I don't know how Southampton think that they can be the worst team in the Premier League. I think they're as bad as flipping Derby, bro. How can 9 points, and they think that they can charge 100 million? That's mental, guys. Like that, I don't know. I think it sets a bad precedent for footballers in the English pyramid. 100 million. That is crazy. Like, I still can't believe it. Like, genuinely, you know what it is? It's one of them things, yeah. When I'm playing FC25 career mode, guys, and somebody wants to buy my best player, and I put the maddest price tag on them just to see if they might pay it. That's the kind of things I do. But now Southampton are doing that in real life. Dibbling for 100 million is insane. That's Jude and Mbappe money. Facts. 100 million for a young player. By the way, I like Tyler Dibbling. I think he's a very good player, but he's not now 100 million. Maybe one day he might be. I want a striker who's mobile. I'm tired of hold up strikers. So out of this list, Sesko, I hear it. Let me see what else. Hold on. Talking about, let's actually on the topic of young players. This is actually the perfect segue. This is the perfect segue for this conversation. Reportedly, and I was quite shocked when I read this yesterday, guys. I was quite shocked. Reportedly, Amorim is not completely convinced Kobby Mainoo has the fitness levels to be a success in his system. The club would therefore reluctantly sell and are willing to listen to offers for around 70 million euros. I'm going to be so honest with you lot, guys. How reliable is this source? This source has popped up a lot in transfer windows. Freelance sport, Peter Hall. I've seen him on Sky Sports before. I think he works for Sky Sports, funnily enough. So I'll take it with a pinch of salt. But with saying that, it's not absurd to think that Man United are not thinking about Kobby's future because that story has been out there for a long time. This story of Kobby Mainoo hasn't come out of nowhere, guys. It's been around for the last couple of months. I'm going to be so honest with you, yeah? I will be so upset if Man United sell Kobby Mainoo. I will be so upset. Because I said this a couple of weeks ago on a stream. When you've got a player like Kobby that has come through your system, your academy system, right? You make an example of him. Not just because he's come through your academy system, because he's a very good technical player. He's technically secure. I'm not saying build a system around him, but you can find a role for him, whether it's a depth role. Kobby might actually not be happy with that, and he might want to play consistent football. Last season, we saw him come back from an injury, boss Everton in his first Premier League start for Manchester United, go on to have a great season, win the FA Cup, score the winning goal for Manchester United in the FA Cup. Sorry, he did score the second goal, and then we saw him go on, skip the under 21s at England, go straight to the senior team, go to the Euros, find his way into the first team after the first couple of games, become an integral part of the team to get to the final. And now, suddenly, the conversation is, his athleticism is a concern, or his fitness levels are a concern. Now, I don't think he's always been I don't think athleticism has always been his strongest suit. I don't think so. But I also can say that in a system where one player is the athletic one, Kobby can comfortably be the press resistant one. He can, defend well. He's good on driving the ball forward. There's so many traits that he has that he can excel in. But the problem is that Manchester United have Ugarte. And in terms of mobility, you can't have both of them in the team. It's really sad. It's sad to say, but you can't have... Bro, why is the sun shining on me like that? But you can't have both in the team. However, I will be upset if United sell him. I'm being totally honest. I like Kobby Mainoo as a player. I feel like he has bulked up a little bit compared to his first season, last season. But we all know there's a player in there. He's been unfortunate this season, I would say, with injuries. And I also think, and I said this, I think, a while ago. I think I said it when Amorim came in, that I'm concerned about where Mainoo fits in for Amorim. The concerns have always been there. Now, if Man United were to sell Garnacho and Mainoo in the summer, that would be crazy. Would you be upset if we was to sign Belieber if we sold Mainoo? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be upset. I'll still be upset that Mainoo doesn't play for United, but I think that would be an adequate replacement. I love Belieber. I think he's a great player. I remember watching him at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, and the guy was an absolute engine, robust, mobile, good on the ball. I don't want to say he was a physical monster, because I don't like to just weigh players down to just being physical, but he could play in the 6, he could play in the 8, he could drive the ball forward, he could do so much for Brighton, right? But I do think there's some qualities of professionalism, not professionalism, but maybe with experience, some of his attributes will kind of slow down in terms of I think he's got a bit of rashness in him. Sometimes he's a bit too overly physical, can give away a penalty. He is a bit spooky in that instance, but I have watched him quite a lot this season, and I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad. But I do see Belieber, maybe I feel like Liverpool might look at him. We keep saying we need a squad overhaul, but then we go back to defending our favourites for one reason or another. That's a valid point. United do need a squad overhaul, and I said it at the beginning of the stream. I don't think there's many people in the team that are completely safe from being on the chopping block this summer. There's not really many players. Scariest thing is Chelsea will sweep up Mainoo. It can't happen. I've had enough of this Chelsea relationship United have. If Chelsea sign Mainoo and they put Caicedo and Mainoo together and Cole Palmer in front of them, or Enzo, that would be a good midfield. I hope it doesn't happen. And the thing is, okay, guys, if Man United sell Mainoo, what do you lot want him to leave England, or would you be happy that he stayed in the Premier League? Because I'm not going to lie, I don't want him to stay in the Prem. I do not want him to stay in the Prem. But that will be the case for me, for any Manchester United player. I don't want you to stay in the Prem, let alone go to a direct rival. Absolutely not. So if Man United look to sell him, I mean, how likely is it that teams outside of England will pay 70 million plus? But if that is going to be an option, then Matt Salama, you can leave the Premier League, bro. I don't want to see you at Chelsea. That's it. And the second Man United start sniffing around in terms of offering players to other teams, Chelsea will be all over it. Chelsea will see a young player that they think, ooh, we can make money off this guy in the future. And they will be like, yeah, let's sign him. But I will be upset. We will definitely revisit that story in the near future if something pops up again regarding that. If you just come through, be sure to hit the like button. How we got over 60 people here. And I know YouTube is not really notifying people when I'm going live. So I do apologize. But you lot know, daily dose of Minna every single day, 4 p.m. UK time, without a fail. I will be live. You lot already know the routine. So make sure you lot slap it in your diary, set an alarm on your phone if YouTube ain't notifying you, and make sure you hit the like button. If you want to join the membership club as well, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing channel. I've not had notifications for any channel for weeks. So annoying. YouTube needs to sort it out, man. I'm gonna write an email to them. But another player that's having a good loan spell, Jadon Sancho, you should take notes. Antony's camp are not ruling out the player rebuilding his career at Manchester United, but sources suggest that this is very unlikely to happen. Manchester United are also confident that they will be able to sell Antony in the summer, and are looking for about £40 million. Atletico Madrid are interested, as well as several Italian clubs are monitoring him, and we know that Real Betis might want to keep him on loan again for another season. But I think the priority should be for Manchester United to sell him if they want him to leave. The priority should be to sell him. The priority they shouldn't, unless it's, the only option that they have, they should not entertain loan deals, because I'm sorry, the fact that we were told Sancho was an obligation to buy, just to turn around and say it's an obligation to buy, but you can also pay 5 million and not buy him, that's not an obligation to buy. So unless there is something that completely ties him down to leaving eventually, then maybe Real Betis could be a possible another destination for him for the season. But I personally, guys, would prefer if he leaves. I prefer if he leaves. Same with Jadon Sancho, because you know what I'm tired of? And Rashford as well. I'm tired of fans watching players on loan for their own agenda, if they hate the player or if they like the player. It's either or, right? Because if they love Antony, every time he does something, they want to prove a point. And if they hate Antony, anytime he does something, they want to prove a point. I think it would be much better if he just left. And same with Sancho and Jadon, and same with Marcus Rashford and any other player that's on loan. This sun is getting on my nerves, guys. Literally, I didn't realize that the sun was going to be beaming like this. I would have closed my curtains if I knew that was the case. Damn, the sun really is out. Yeah, it is. Didn't know there was a window right in front of you. Yeah, there's a window right in front of me. Normally I close it, but I'm not gonna lie, guys, I ain't seen the sun in like 6 months, so I'm trying to enjoy the sun. The last couple of days we've had some nice sun in the UK, so I'm trying to enjoy the sun, guys. So I do apologize about the sunlight, but I will keep it in mind for my stream tomorrow that I have to close the curtains because the sun is getting too much right now. I might have to put my sunglasses on any second soon. How long you got in his contract? He's got a couple of years left. I think he's got 3 years. He would have signed a 5-year deal when he joined, and this is his 3rd season. So he's got 2 years left. This is he's got 2 years. After this season, he'll have 2 years left on his contract. And just on the topic of wingers, quickly, before we talk about the Forest game, I saw this on Sky Sports earlier today. I saw this on Sky Sports. I don't know what you lot make of it. I don't know what you guys make of it. Firstly, that is funny. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Listen, when Elanga scores tonight, if Elanga scores tonight, just know he's pulling out a celebration. He's not going to do the humble gimmick of... He's not going to do that. We know he's going to celebrate. And he probably wants to score against United tonight. He probably wants to score, because looking at goal contributions since he's left from Manchester United's wide players, Sancho don't even make the list. That's how bad it is. He don't even... Antony, 2. Bro, what the hell? What on earth is that? Amad Diallo, guys, has played a lot less number of games than anyone on this thing. And that says a lot, guys. That says more about how poor the other players have been. And it tells you also how good Amad Diallo has been. But I just seen this kind of flying around. very interesting what's it called, graphic. Here's Manchester United's upcoming games, guys, for the next 2 months. We only got 2 months left of the season, guys. April, May, then the season ends. If I think Europa League will be towards the end of May, probably just before. I think it'll be the week before the Champions League final. And this is what we got. This is what we have. I mean, the next 5 games for United are spooky. We got Lyon on the horizon, Man City, Newcastle. Damn. I mean, the last couple of games of the season don't even. It's not easy games for Manchester United. It's really not. What is this fixture list? Honestly, this is. I was gonna say it can make or break our season. There is nothing in the season, right? There is nothing in the season. Maybe if United were contending for something, it would be a fun conversation to have, but we're not. The only really relevant games for this is Europa League for United to win, to beat Lyon. Just quickly on the topic of Lyon, Manchester United reportedly have been asked to keep informed about Ryan Cherki's situation. He has an agreement with Lyon that will allow him to move for less than 25 million this summer. So just kind of keep that in mind. I don't want to talk about that too much because I don't know how likely it is. But if there is any kind of news about that over the next coming weeks, then obviously we'll talk about it. I like Cherki. I think he's a proper baller. Like, I like ballers. He's a proper baller. But let's talk about tonight's game. Let's talk about tonight's game because I said it at the beginning of the stream. The optimism. I'm amazed by the optimism. Not because I'm a negative person, but just because I think I'm being realistic. I think I'm being realistic. Given the opponent and given the fact that, yes, Man United were picking up some run of form before the international break, but I've never been confident with United coming off the back of an international break over the last 18 or so months. Whether it was with Ten Hag or Amrim, I haven't felt like that. Nottingham Forest aren't no small dogs. I don't know why people are treating Forest like they're this small team this season that are just in and around bottom half or, you know, the middle of the table. They're third. Not only that, I remember when we played them back in December. That was an interesting game. That was the first. I think that's the last time we scored in a first half of a Premier League game from open play, if I'm not wrong. The only thing that's, I think, helping Manchester United right now going into this game is their form away from home in comparison to maybe their form at Old Trafford. I think that is a big factor of today's game. I ain't giving any prediction because you lot know I don't do predictions anymore. I don't do it. I just enjoy the vibe. I'm here for the vibe. But I do hope for a good game. I hope to see a competitive game. I really hope to see a competitive game where Manchester United are involved and what's the word? Like, we're not just letting them just destroy us. Like, that's it, guys. This sun is starting to get on my nerves. Should I get up and close the curtain, guys? I've got to get up and close my curtain, guys. Give me a second because the sun is really, really, really killing me right now. There you go. There you go. That's better. And now I actually have to turn on the lights in my studio. There you go. There you go. That's better. I don't have to keep squinting, guys. I ain't got to keep squinting. I hope we don't get outplayed. Facts. That's it. I just hope we don't get outplayed. Like, is that too much to ask for, guys? Is that too much to ask for? We got Chris Wood, who's, I don't know if he's gonna play, by the way, because there was some talk about him and Gibbs White being 75% likely to play. But you got speedy wingers, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's on a redemption arc. You got Alanga. You got Elliot Anderson, who I think is an absolute baller. Absolute baller. I think he's good. You got Gibbs White, PMP. The guy can, I don't know what it is with him. When he's got the ball at his feet and he can just run at people like a flipping truck. You got a backline duo in Murillo and Milinkovic. I think up there with the best partnerships, one of the best partnerships in the Premier League this season. Great goalkeeper in Sells. Ola Aina is Ola Aina. Oh man, and if they beat us, Ola Aina just gonna, his Snapchat's gonna be popping off. His Snapchat is gonna be popping off. I just want United to compete. That's it. If United can get a win, amazing. A draw, okay. Just no humiliation, please. Not on the first day back from international break, where you know everyone is going to be watching. Everyone's going to be watching because everyone's missed football. Forest is a physical team. They are. And United not so physical. I expect Xerxes to play. I'm not gonna lie, I do expect Xerxes to play. But it'll be interesting to see if Amorim persists again with Højlund up front, because Højlund versus Murillo and Milinkovic. I remember watching Forest versus Newcastle, right? Alexander Isak, who again is a different type of striker to Højlund, but his ability to drag centre backs out wide helped Newcastle so much in getting at Nottingham Forest. I don't know if Højlund would be able to do that, where he can drag Milinkovic or Murillo out wide because he's good on the ball, because he's making those runs, those diagonal runs across the channel, and it creates space for other people to get into. If he's able to do that, then United stand a chance against Forest's backline. But that is just, that's just my thoughts. That's just my thoughts. Forest have the biggest pitch in the Prem. Hella pace and power and transitions. I didn't know that. That is news to me. Listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Like I said, we got Daily Dose of Mina, and it's back consistently 4 p.m. every single day here on the channel. After every game, we have a match reaction. So we'll have a match reaction for United game straight after, literally immediately. Like, I think normally I upload within 20 minutes of the game ending. So make sure you guys turn on your post notifications, so when that gets uploaded, you will be notified. Obviously, we'll have match reactions tomorrow as well. I think it's actually Atletico versus Barca tomorrow. I might do a watch along for it, but if I don't do a watch along for it, I will definitely be doing a match reaction after that. Of course, like I said, I'm doing a lot more Man United and other kind of match reactions as well. So make sure you lot check that out. What content? Oh yeah, Real Madrid versus Sociedad tonight. That's going to be a good game. I need to quickly check. Oh, I was going to say the next women's watch along, but it's on international break, so there's no women's watch along coming. But I might start doing watch alongs for the men's, like for other games, like especially with like the fact that I watch the Italian league, I watch the Spanish league, I watch quite a lot of leagues. So if it don't clash with Man United games, I might start doing watch along. So if you lot think I should do a watch along for Atletico versus Barca tomorrow, please let me know. And it's Inter versus AC, so that's a Milan derby. Any Ahmad news? He's still recovering, but I don't know. I feel like Fabrizio's hinting at something because he keeps quote tweeting a tweet that he posted about Ahmad, talking about how good his recovery is going, etc., etc. So it sounds like he's hinting at something, but we don't know. Yes, please. All right, guys. I'll think about doing a watch along tomorrow. What time is the game? Tomorrow's game is at 8:30. Okay, that's actually reasonable, because the Premier League games tomorrow are not really like big games. You know, we've got Bournemouth versus Ipswich tomorrow, Brighton versus Villa, City versus Leicester, Newcastle versus Brentford, Southampton versus Palace, Liverpool versus Everton. So I might actually do a watch along for Atletico Madrid versus Barca at 8:30. Am I doing anything tomorrow before I actually start making plans? I need to actually check my calendar, guys. Nope. My calendar's free. I'll do a watch along tomorrow, guys, inshallah. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. And I'll be back tomorrow with the daily dose of Mina. And of course, we got the match reaction tonight, straight after the game. So make sure you lot check that out. Hit the like button on your way out. We're back, man. Eid Mubarak, guys. I hope you had a wonderful Eid for those of you who celebrated on Sunday or Monday, whichever day you celebrated. I hope you had a wonderful day. And we'll be back tomorrow. Hit the like button on your way out, guys. I'm out. Peace.